Reese receives intel that the thieves who stole the Sinnoh Knight's horses are none other than the Neem Bandits, a massive gang of thieves hiding out in the nearby Neem Mountains, given free reign over the area on account of the war. King Volscens seems highly apathetic to securing the surrounding territories around Navarone, and given Reese's impassioned plea gives him a nearly impossible deadline to eradicate them all, a challenge that we take in the name of honor and duty. And thus begins Chapter 2 main, Bandit Suppression. Objective: seize the Neem Bandit's center fort within 24 turns. Starting from this chapter, a new hidden mechanic is introduced in Berwick Saga, Tactics Ranks. In every chapter's main map from now until chapter 13, completing the map in certain ways will give Reese up to 3 tactics points, with chapter 13 giving 2. This is a grand total of 35 tactics points, and the player will be evaluated with this score at the end of the game. Aside from bragging rights, there is also a bonus. Reese will promote upon reaching 18 tactics points, which, assuming you play every main chapter map flawlessly, will promote him as early as chapter 7. This definitely incentivizes good play for the upcoming main maps. For this map, you will earn 1 tactics point for simply beating the chapter. If you clear within 21 turns, you will be given 2 points, and if you manage to clear within 18 turns, you will get all 3 points. Seizing the fort by turn 18 is actually a very lenient timer for this map. The difficulty certainly doesn't come from the time constraint, but from something else that we will discuss soon. There are also 3 side quests that will be given to you by the townspeople of Navarone before setting off. Make sure to grab them all. One of the side quests in this chapter also unlocks the bounty system, which is something we'll be dealing with all game long, so keep your eyes peeled for it. You won't be doing this alone, thankfully. On turn 1, a cutscene will play and 3 additional units will join you on the right side of the map: the thief, Czene, the mercenary Kramer, and the myrmidon, Faye. Let's start with the most unique unit here, Czene. Czene is one of your 2 playable sleeves, which you can notice in Berwick Saga have a pitifully low strength stat. She will be doing about 1 or 2 damage to enemies for a long time, but this damage is guaranteed. In Berwick Saga, dagger attacks will always go through even the toughest foe, since they ignore all defenses of their target, making her a reliable source of chip damage even against the tankiest of enemies. With a few critical daggers, she might even turn into a decent combat unit, though that is hardly an advised course of action for the most part. You will find the utility of thieves to be invaluable all game long. Despite their low power, they are truly a creative toolkit to possess. Next up is Faye, the agile sword fighter that joins with a PRF cutlass, allowing her to double enemies with it, and perhaps more, as she also has Adept on top of that for even more attacks. With a combination of High Avoid, Ayado for better counterattacks, and Parry to block damage, you will find Faye to be a very agile sword fighter that has a surprisingly solid defensive suite against a large number of enemies. She is also the only unit in this game that can learn the skill Astra upon promotion. But be warned, between her skill set of Adept, Parry, and eventually Astra, Faye has some infamy in this game as being a unit that rapidly chews through sword durability like no other, and will likely need to constantly replenish her stock of swords as time goes on. Lastly, Kramer is your brawny infantry sword fighter. His biggest claim to fame being his unique skill, Climber, which prevents cliff tiles from reducing his avoid to 0 as it would to everyone else. His additional access to Arrowbane makes him a fantastic unit for sieging uphill, especially if a garrison of archers await on the high ground, a configuration that is not uncommon to see in this game. His bulk and power will definitely serve you well with investment. All 3 of these characters have unique dialogue with Reese when they move next to him, and they all should do so as the chapter objective suggests you to do. It is especially important to have Czene do this, as this is one of her recruitment conditions. Therefore, you should plan this map with the intention of having these 3 being next to Reese eventually. The bulk of our forces start on the left side of the map, with the bridge immediately next to us inconveniently destroyed, forcing us to take the long way around. Axel alone can cross the water if you brought him, but the chances of him clearing the bandit camp solo would be near 0. The house closest to our spawn point must be visited for a side quest, which unlocks a new interactable house in the southern end of the map. Visiting that house triggers combat with the bandit within, and after combat, the side quest will be completed. Near this side quest house is another one with a tiny white sparkle, which only Axel and Czene can interact with due to their access to the search skill. This search triggers yet another battle with an enemy inside, and after its conclusion you will be given a flame dust. Most of the map will come down to movements in the southern half of the map, but make sure to spare a few people to go north, as there is an interactable item that you can grab, a Surab fluid. Otherwise, the north side of the map is where most of the enemy reinforcements will come from, and they will start spawning en masse from the caves starting from turn 7. The first enemy reinforcement to spawn in from the north cave is Kelsar. He will immediately attempt to flee the map by running bottom left, and he is holding the ring required for the side quest. Make sure to intercept and kill him. Kelsar has unnaturally high avoid for this stage in the game, but is very fragile. Make sure to use any accuracy boosting methods available to improve the odds of hitting him. The center of the map has one bandit that starts crippled, making him a free capture. He is holding a half-broken dagger and a bag of 4 vulneraries and will attempt to flee the map by running into Czene, Faye, and Kramer. Spare some effort to capture him. The vulneraries he holds can make for a valuable source of sustain for the 3 members on the right. There are quite a few named bandits on this map that serve as mini-bosses. Pizarro is a mounted archer that will harass you with hit-and-run tactics, but drops his horse upon death. Kramer and his friends will have to contend with Zaccaro, a thief holding a swordbreaker dagger, boasting a 1/3 chance to instantly break the opponent's sword on contact. Unfortunately, both Faye and Kramer are sword users that will get into a fight with him very early in the map. Dispatch him first and as quickly as possible. While his swordbreaker will deal 0 damage to you, every hit you take risks triggering the dreaded break chance and leave you defenseless and down a perfectly fine weapon. Ortega is another mini-boss behind Zaccaro and will retreat to the bottom right and wait there, letting you engage him at your leisure. Valentin is next to the boss. Defeating him is your 3rd side quest, and he additionally is a bounty target and serves as the tutorial to the bounty system. The Narvian Mercenary Guild has a contract on 18 dangerous individuals, and you will encounter all of them as the game progresses. While killing them is perfectly fine to claim the reward, bringing the bounty target in alive via capture yields double the contract price. The 18 bounties represent a significant amount of your income for the entire game, so it is definitely worth going for the capture. However, at such an early stage in the game, there are very few ways to reliably set up your injury engine. Valentin annoyingly has enough defense that Arthur's Flourish will currently do 0 damage to him, preventing the injury. The best way to injure him here to set up for the cripple may be the harpoon you looted from chapter 1. This is an exceptionally annoying bounty target to take in alive, but rest assured the future targets get way easier. If this is your first playthrough and you find yourself pressed for time, just kill him. It's not a big deal. Better to claim a bounty than to claim nothing at all at the end of the day. The boss of this map, Bangrington, has the Battle Cry ability. He will spend every turn doing nothing but screaming at the top of his lungs on the fort. Each use of this skill adds 3 might and 10 hit to his next battle, stacking up to 6 times. By the time you reach him, a max stacked Battlecry Bangrington is absolutely lethal to go against. Fortunately, Battlecry has a glaring weakness. All stacks of it will be spent on the next combat, even if he is shot by an archer and cannot retaliate. The shot by your archer doesn't even need to hit him to dispel all his stacks. Since this is a siege map, he will never move, so make sure you take a pot shot at him first before engaging him for the kill. With the boss out of the way, it appears we can just siege and end. We need to do so by turn 18 for maximum tactics ranks after all. But wait, there are more rewards that await us by holding on for just a while longer if you made it here early. On turn 12, an absolutely lethal bandit named Zalius appears in the top right cave to chase you down. Zalius is much stronger than the other bandits on the map, but it's not ridiculous enough to be unkillable. If you do spare the effort to kill him, he will drop his broadsword, a very powerful weapon that will be yours for the taking. On turn 16, a thief named Fuva appears from the right, holding 2 very powerful daggers for Czene to use, and a treasure worth 5,000 denarii to be dropped on death. He is evasive and dangerous enough that capturing him alive, especially with the max tactics limit, is very difficult. But make sure to at least kill him for the large sum of money. He will dodge a lot but is quite fragile, and 1 or 2 clean hits will easily take him down. Finally, on turn 18, Teravan appears on the bottom right clearing. He he is holding a muscle brace, which any infantry bracelet wielding unit can equip for a +1 boost to strength. This is an invaluable item and definitely worth going for. But of course, the difficulty comes from killing him and seizing the throne to secure your 3 tactics points all in one turn. Don't occupy his tile where you will block his spawn and prevent him from appearing alt-right, but have your hardest hitters line up ahead of time and get ready to burst him as hard as you can through his beefy HP pool. Once Terror 1 dies, seize the fort and get out of the map in a clean 18-turn fight. We have finally done everything there is to do in this ridiculously loaded chapter and can now move on to chapter 2-1, where things will calm down considerably. See you soon.